paryupasate, properly worship, ye, those whom, cha, also, api, again, aksharam, beyond the senses, avyaktam, the unmanifested, tesham, of them, ke, whom, yoga vittama, the most perfect in knowledge of yoga. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. We'll do the pranam mantra for Vak Siddhi Mangalacharya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vesya Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, my humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. I seek their blessing. My humble obeisances to Sri Krishnamanand Prabhu for engaging me in this seva, so that I can do some Shastra reading and purify my heart, do a better utilization of my time. Very wonderful summary of 11th chapter by Sri Simeshwar Prabhu, and it was so nice. This chapter starts right after, and Prabhuji was at the end in the what he was saying, that Arjuna is bowing down to Krishna, and he has just now seen the Virata Rupa form of Krishna, and then he is scared, he is afraid, and then he is requesting him to show his four-handed form and then two-handed form. Now, once Krishna has shown his two-handed form, then Arjuna is now asking this question. He starts this chapter with the question that Evam satat yukta ye, those who are constantly engaged in your service, paryupasate, and ye chapya aksharam avyaktam, and those who are in the worship of this aksharam and avyaktam. Avyaktam is something which is unmanifested, cannot be described, and aksharam is the one which is beyond the senses. So, who of these two is the greatest? Tesam ke yoga with tama. Who among these two categories is the greatest of the devotee, or is the best one? And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada actually describes that the reason behind this question is that Arjuna has Arjuna is in the category of uh, serving Krishna. He is more attached to the Krishna's personal form. The two-handed Shyam Sundar form, the beautiful picture which Simeshwar Prabhu was showing. And now this Virat Rupa form, which is in the Aksharam and Avyaktam, which Simeshwar Prabhu said that it's mentioned as temporary. So this is there are devotees who are or there are worshippers who are more attached to this form. So Arjun wants to ensure that his position is secured or not. Is he on the right path or not? Okay, by being a devotee of the personal form of the Krishna, because he is more attached to the Shyam Sundar form of Krishna. Okay, so that's the question. That's the beginning of this chapter 12. Now, the outline of the chapter is that from verse number 1 to 7, this question, including Krishna clarifies that bhakti is superior to impersonalism. And then from verse number 8 to 12, Krishna describes that what is the progressive stages of devotion. There are different categories or different processes through which one can reach to the devotional service stage. And then finally, Krishna lists down the qualities that endear, that endears devotees towards Krishna. Okay, he is basically listing down the qualities. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to cover the main subjects, items, definitions, which are explained by Krishna and by Srila Prabhupada in his purports. We'll try to understand those under these three broad categories today. And then if permits and everyone participates, then we'll try to do, 2 group activities and then see if, we can, what we can achieve out of that. Okay. So we start with the first section. Bhakti is superior to impersonalism. Okay. So this is second verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Now Krishna is answering to the question. Maya aveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya paryopetas te me yukta tamamata. Very clear in his answer. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, are considered by me to be most perfect. There is no ambiguity. Very, very clear answer by Krishna. Okay? That Nitya Yukta Upasate and Maya Aveshya Mano Yemam, whose minds are fixed, in me, and they are Shraddhaya Paryopetas, and they are serving me, with love and devotion. Teme Yukta Tamamata. I consider them, te means to them, me, I, and Yukta Tamamata. I consider them to be the best or the most perfect. Now, the second category, te tva aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam sanniyamendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rata. Now here Krishna is adding a lot of conditions, and then he is actually describing the position of the impersonalist. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. So here, just by the answers, we can see there is a lot of ifs and conditions being added by Krishna. What is that? First, if we look from the beginning, that at last achieve me. They'll not achieve me at the beginning, or they'll not achieve me. Ultimately, they will get. Then before that, he's saying that person has to be engaged in the welfare of all. For the devotees, what Krishna says, sarva dharman paritajya. You leave up all the, you don't worry about anything else. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. And then I will take care of, aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchaha. Do not worry. He's saying that, you do not worry. But here, Krishna is, giving all that you have to do all this worry. That not only about yourself, not only about your act, but you'll have to be the welfare of all. And then you have to be equally disposed to everyone. Okay. And then here, everyone. So he's saying, that means, all the jivas. And before that, what? By controlling the various senses. You have to have control on the senses. And then you have to understand. What do you have to understand? Something which is inconceivable. That is all pervading. That means it's present everywhere, but you cannot perceive it by the senses. It's beyond the sense perception. It's unconceivable. It's unchanging, fixed, and immovable. So now, if you see, if you read this response, you say that, oh, it's going to be very difficult, and that's what Krishna is telling, that trying to discourage one from the process of impersonalist. So, what we understand here, that there are two categories, broad categories of worship or the devotion being, mentioned here. One is the personalist and the other is the impersonalist. Then we can just try to put in that what all are the properties of this. So personalists are those who are attracted to the personal form of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality. Now, impersonalists, they are attracted to impersonal Brahman or the Brahma Jyoti. And Acharyas explain that sometimes it's easy to start on the impersonal form, because the example being given is that it's very easy to see the rays of the sun than the sun. It's very difficult to see the sun directly, but it's very easy to see the rays of the sun. Okay. Then personalists are engaged in the personal service of the Lord. They are cooking for Krishna, they are dressing Krishna, they are decorating Krishna, giving bath to Krishna, waking up Krishna, sleeping Krishna, making bhoga for Krishna. So chanting the name of Krishna, reading the glories of Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. However, the impersonalists engage in the meditation on impersonal Brahma. Okay. So, trying to understand something which is already declared as inconceivable. Now, engage in easy to understand process. So personalist process, even though it may be difficult to start, but it's easy to understand. That how it is easy to understand that Krishna is person. So we are we are embodied soul, so we have a body, so it's very easy to understand the body, and that's why we have this bhakti process of uh, right from serving the form of Krishna. Okay? But it's very difficult process to understand for impersonalists, that okay, how do I serve the Brahma Jyoti? Or is there a concept of serving as well? Okay, what to do? It's very easy to understand that okay, once you meet Krishna, what do? And there are so many examples where devotees have met Krishna and then what they have done. For example, Dhruva Maharaj, when he met Krishna, he offered his prayers to Krishna. When Prahlad Maharaj he did the same thing. So it's very easy to understand. When Sudama ji went to meet Krishna, he took offering for Krishna. Okay? So it's very easy to understand. Here we see that Arjuna, it's very easy to understand what is Arjuna doing. Talking to Krishna, asking questions to Krishna, okay, following directions given by Krishna. But what to do in case of Brahma Jyoti? So that's why it's very difficult to understand the process, especially for the embodied soul. Now, personalists are engaged in the direct process of self-realization. And why? Because ultimately, that's the goal. And in case of impersonalist, as we saw in the previous verse, that sarv te prapnuvanti mameva, they also achieve me. Prapnuvanti means they achieve me, they get to me, ultimately, at last. So ultimately, even by the process of impersonalism, if you follow, ultimately you reach to Krishna only. Okay? But it is a very indirect and difficult process. Okay? And then personalism, personalists are called Bhakti Yogi, and impersonalists are called Jnana Yogi. Okay, so let's see. We'll take here like 5 minutes and try to some group participation. Let's describe the activities which can be performed by Bhakti Yogis and by the impersonalists. So if few of you, and Krishna Manan, if you can unmute so that devotees can participate. I can write, either you can put it in chat or you can write it down. So we can let's try to brainstorm and understand it a little more. That what are the activities done by a Bhakti Yogi and what are the activities done by impersonalists?
Hare Krishna. Bhakti Yogi is mostly trying to chant the holy names of the Lord, whereas those following Brahma Jyoti will be spending their time more in meditation.
Very nice, Mataji. And meditation, but meditation on what?
Meditation of Brahma Jyoti.
Meditation of Brahma Jyoti.
Like light or...
Yes, Mataji. And it's very easy, if we compare these two activities, very easy to take the name of Krishna. But meditation on a light, what to do? Just think about light. I don't know. Okay. But thank you, Mataji. That's no wonderful point. What next?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Like doing Shringar of deities and offering offering bhoga, that is Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yogis.
Yes, Mataji.
Activities by Bhakti Yogi.
Offering bhoga. Yes. And what do you think,
And
Mataji? What?
Shringar also. So in personally, it's very difficult to meditate on light. We cannot keep our mind continuous, and finding that light also it's very difficult. Here we can see our deities in front of us, and like a personal relationship with them, and we are offering, we are doing shringar, we are chanting, just looking at them. So it's very easy for person in person, but
Yes,
in
Mataji.
yeah, it's very difficult to control our senses and just see the Brahma Jyoti.
Okay. So yeah, maybe controlling senses.
Yeah, difficult to.
Yeah, it's difficult to control, but they'll be engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Prabhupada explains that if there is an eye, uh, its job is to see. So how can you control eye and then not let it see?
Yeah.
In case of Bhakti Yoga, it's super easy. That okay, you just have to look at the supreme form.
Hmm.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry. So in Bhakti Yoga, a person will try to satisfy Lord's senses rather than his own senses. And he will try his best to satisfy and make Lord happy. And in the impersonalists, they have whereas they are gonna have their own goals to satisfy their own goals. They will do all their activities and try to achieve their goals and meditate on impersonal form of the Lord. So that is only going to satisfy their own goal rather than satisfying the Lord.
Yeah. So self-satisfaction versus focus on satisfying Krishna. That's very nice. Very wonderful point.
Prabhuji, I feel in Bhakti Yoga, it makes us very much more connected to God. As the previous Mataji says, we are very selfless. We just focus only on Him. And in that way, our materialistic thing is also not focused unmaterialistically. We just focus for love of Krishna. Just the love comes into the picture. Whereas in the other thing, that is kind of a little bit less. I feel so. I don't know if I'm correct, but that's what I think so.
No, it's it's a very nice point, Mataji. Yes, it's aligned that you're naturally, selfless, and your focus is more on satisfying Krishna's senses. Here, it's about satisfying own senses, and that's why if we see, and we can start and take up the next verses. But before that, if you see Krishna, that's why he's putting this condition. Let me see if I'm sharing or not. Krishna is putting condition in this verse that you have to control your senses, and then you have to be equally disposed to everyone. So to your point that you have to be selfless, and then you have to control your senses, and then only by following the impersonalist process of impersonalism, you achieve. Okay, so thank you so much, all the Mataji.
Prabhuji, one more point. Can we say, like we can see different forms, like Jagannath form, Chaitanya Gaur Nitai form, and Sham Sundar form. So different forms we can see in Bhakti Yogis. But in person, only light means there is no form, so we can't see the different forms. So we have more benefit in Bhakti Yogis.
Yeah, Mataji, there's variety versus monotonous. I don't know if this variety is spelling. Okay, variety
VIAIATY.
pastimes and Krishna's form. versus this is going to be monotonous. Yes, wonderful point, Mataji. Thank you so much. So we'll
Hare
now.
Krishna, Prabhu.
You were the inspiration behind this act, Prabhuji.
Huh?
So I thought about you before how would Amritanand Prabhu run this, and then I thought that he'll definitely add an activity or two. And
Oh, Krish Prabhupada. Prabhu, with impersonalism, it requires a lot of discipline. And not to say that bhakti doesn't need discipline, but knowing, as they say, right, as time passes, the mind becomes more chanchal and degraded condition. So with such a state, to get that level of discipline is almost next to impossible. Whereas with bhakti, just doing simple things, the mind gets disciplined. Everything is engaged. Your mind, your senses, your words, your action, everything is dovetailed towards that goal. So naturally, it is the easier process. Hare Krishna.
very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So yeah, as you said, Arjuna also tells it's very easy to control. It's easier to control wind than controlling the mind. So this rigorous discipline is required in impersonalism. But in case of Bhakti Yogi, we are just redirecting our senses to a better test. Who is more beautiful than Krishna for eyes, and then what is more tasty than Krishna Prasadam. So yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for sharing that. And then till now only Matajis were participating. So thank you so much for representing all the Prabhujis. Keep an eye on time as well. Okay, so now we are we move to the last section or last verse of this first section, where Krishna is saying, "Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sannyas matpara ananyeva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesam aham samruddhata mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mai aveshita chetasam na chirat partha bhavami mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat." So what Krishna is saying, that coming back to Bhakti Yogi, then he's saying, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, not that giving up all the activities, but giving up all activities, redirecting all the activities to me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Partha, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So you see the choice of words Krishna is making. No, on the other side, he's saying that the impersonalist will ultimately come unto me. No? But here he's saying that I'm the swift deliverer for them from the ocean of birth and death. Okay. So now the worship of the deity, we see that it can be actually this I added because we see it in the form of saguna and niguna. These are the two terms which actually Prabhupada in the purport uses, saguna and nirguna. And saguna is the form of Krishna who is full of all the qualities. Okay, and what are the qualities? Jnana Saktir Balaishwarya Virya Tejasma Aseshtata Bhagavad Shabda Vachyani Vinaheyar Gunadibhi. So these are the 6 qualities. We all know that Jnana, but at the end, Aseshtata, the one in unlimited. So not just the knowledge, regular knowledge, but the all the knowledge in the world. Shakti, the strength, but not not just the regular Shakti, all the Shakti. Jnana Shakti, Balaishwarya. I'm confused. This Bala is the strength, or but Aishwarya is the fame. Virya is the so
Strength.
Virya is the strength, right? So what is Bala?
Bala is
And then Shakti is also Bala. So but these are the
Bala is force.
Bala is the force. But the 6 qualities of Krishna, which is described, is the knowledge, most knowledgeable. Has all the knowledge, all the strength, all the fame, all the beauty, and the renunciation. So that's actually Bhagwan. So these are the qualities which has to be. So now then this word comes Nirguna. So what is the meaning of Nirguna? So I was actually reading, and Nirguna is, Amritanand Prabhu on the Bhagavad Gita day, he also raised this point, and then so wonderfully answered by Namaru Prabhu, that Nirguna is the qualities beyond all the 3 modes of material nature. Okay? That's what Padma Purana also says. This is a reference in Srimad Sri Laghu Bhagavatamrita. What is Rupa Goswami giving this reference from Padma Purana? That I'll just read the translation. That when scriptures describe the Lord of the universe as devoid of qualities, that's Nirguna, they mean he has no material qualities like those belonging to inferior objects. That's where in this verse it Vina Heyer Gunadivi. That's the meaning of that line. That it is belonging to he is devoid of, or there is no material quality in the Lord. So that's why when we are worshipping the deities in temple, it is not the idol worship. That's the example which Srila Prabhupada actually gives. He says that he takes the example of a mailbox, that just like a mailbox is authorized, and that's why when a letter is posted into the mailbox, it reaches the desired destination. But any look-alike box, if you put a letter in that, it's not going to it's not going anywhere. So similarly, the deities in temple are authorized by the Shastra, authorized by the sadhus. And that's why the worship to deities in temple is a direct worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. I just wanted to make that point. Okay. Now we go to the second stage, the second section of the chapter. Let me do a quick time check. Okay. So there is 8 minutes. So we'll try to swiftly go through and then see if we can have some time at the end for some questions. So progressive stages of devotion. Okay. So in this particular section, Krishna is actually telling that what are the different stages of devotion. And then he says, as he has said at the beginning, that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. And then in the Bhakti Yoga, what do? We are engaged in the personal form of serving the personal form of Krishna. Okay. And as we listed down, devotees right from beginning from waking up till they go to sleep, they are constantly satata yuktanam. They are constantly engaged in the glorification and service of Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Okay. Then Krishna says that it may be difficult and it may not be possible for everyone. So he gives the next option. The next option is sadhana bhakti. The sadhana bhakti is the Vedi bhakti, or the process. It's a regulated, prescribed duties. Which are there are rules and regulations involved in that, and then you follow this process, this path of bhakti. Okay, it's one level below Raga Anuga Bhakti, or the pure devotional service of the Lord. So it's called sadhana bhakti. And then we may not have developed the love for Krishna, the instant, affection. But by following this rules and regulations and the process of sadhana bhakti, we will ultimately develop the pure devotional service for Krishna. Now, Krishna says that even those, so here actually he's described, this is a section from Purport by Srila Prabhupada for this verse, so we'll actually just read that. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should arise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna, then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam, and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow, and one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God. So what he describes so far, Prabhupada, that the sadhana bhakti. And then if you do this, then you reach to the love of God, and that is the Bhakti Yoga. This practice of Bhakti Yoga then, under the rules and regulations, with the direction of a spiritual master, will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Then after bhakti, if you cannot do bhakti, sadhana bhakti, then Krishna is saying that you can follow Niskam Karma Yoga. What is Niskam Karma Yoga? In the stage of Niskam Karma Yoga, devotee is not engaged in the sadhana bhakti, but is actually helping. Okay, how the devotee is helping? Prabhupada explains that any organization sustains by the some funds, some help, some support which is required, and then a devotee who cannot do bhakti yoga or cannot do sadhana bhakti should actually offer the results of his work towards the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that comes under Niskam Karma Yoga. No, it's very different than the Karma Yoga described in the Karma Kanda section of the Shastras. Now, those who cannot even rise to this level, they should engage in the Dhyana Yoga process. Try to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you cannot, then Brahma Jyoti, or try to develop some piety, some sense control. This Dhyana Yoga, and then the next one is Jnana Yoga. Both of them actually come under the process of impersonalism. So Bhakti Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti, and Niskam Karma Yoga, these three actually are under the Bhakti Yoga process or personalism, because there is a direct relationship with Krishna. But in case of Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, there is not. And then one may rise up to the level of, by following this process, you actually, earn the enough piety points, and then with that, what happens? You come to the come in connection with a devotee, and then you meet, you get engaged in the bhakti yoga process. Okay, and then at the end of it, if you cannot be even engaged in dhyana yoga or jnana yoga process, then you at least renounce the results of your work. Okay, and this can be like various social services, like opening up the orphanage, opening up vriddhashram, opening up hospitals, dharmasalas. There are many things which can be done, but the difference between nishkama karma yoga and renouncing the results of the work is that one is directed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and other is towards the general welfare of the society. So now after this, we reach into the last section. We are running out of time, so I'll quickly try to end this. Apologize for being late. So qualities that endear one to Krishna. So now in this particular section, starting from verse number 13 to 20th, Krishna is actually recounting the qualities which he likes in his devotees. So these qualities one may already have, and then Krishna likes, or in a way Krishna is telling that as a devotee one should develop these qualities. Okay, now the first verse, I'll just read the translation in this section, is one who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal to both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So Krishna is. Now after this, actually, I was thinking about these wonderful qualities are described. I was trying to relate this section with the earlier one, and then see that if we can bring up our compassion, we are and then see what could be the challenges in taking a bhakti yoga. So even after knowing the simple process of bhakti yoga, some people may not be able to take this process. So I wanted to do this quick exercise and see if we can recount some of the situations. A few of them, Prabhupada describes in his purport, like somebody may be under the pressure of family and then may not come out and then openly take up the bhakti yoga process. So as a devotee, we should be able to understand, we should not be judgmental, we should not look down upon that person. But we can please do this exercise. We are running out of time, so you can do mentally this exercise. And then this is the last verse where Krishna is summarizing and just underlining that bhakti yoga is the best process to achieve Krishna. So he's saying, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Ativa, Krishna is using the word bhaktaste ativa me priya. They are very, very dear to me. And then he is saying that what are the qualities of devotional service, and then one of them he's saying is imperishable. So any act done on the path of devotional service is imperishable. That means it's a bank account which doesn't go down no matter what is the market condition. Okay. So sorry, we went over. I went over. I'd like to stop here and then see if there are any reflections, corrections. Over to you, Krishna.
Thank you very much, Akhilesh Krishna Prabhu. Wonderful explaining and engaging everybody. Anyone has quick questions, 1 or 2, maybe you can spend 1 or 2 minutes max. You can unmute and ask for chapter 11 and chapter 12 if anyone has.
Prabhuji, please, it may be a very, if I forgive me for asking me these questions also, I may be very ignorant. So when we are having the deity at our home, the two-handed form of Krishna is what we should, or can we have Virat Rupa also at home in the devotee's place? In our puja thing, Virat Rupa also is okay. Can say okay to keep and
it's not really okay, Mataji. I think it's when we have two-handed form, why we want to go with the Virat form, because of two-handed form is so beautiful and so wonderful. And that's what is Krishna is always, that Shyamasundar form is very rare to have. And one who has that means it's Krishna's mercy. And because of the mercy that one has it, then we have Krishna in direct front of us in personal form. Then why we want to go, all over the places. Like just for an example, we have salt in our front of us. And why we need to go to the ocean and, get that and dry up and fill out and all those things. So one is direct and another is indirect. So the Krishna is always recommends the direct process. That's the, we have temple deities and Krishna, even neither form, like picture form or any form, it's a two form. That's beautiful. And especially as a devotee and should worship not only Krishna, we should supposed to worship by Radha and Krishna, because so we are goes through directly, we are not supposed to directly go through Krishna, but we directly go through the internal potency of the Lord. That's what is Krishna is revealing, that Shyamasundar are the internal potency, that's through the Radha Rani. So that's why we call Radha Shyamsundar. First, we are taking the shelter of the mercy of Srimati Radha Rani. So we are we are the devotees of the devotees of the devotees of the Lord. So we should always have this understanding, and we should always worship Radha and Krishna in his personal form. That's Srila Prabhupada recommended, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended. All our Parambara system is not for the Virat Rup, not for the universal form, but to the Supreme Lord, two-handed Shyamasundar form.
all right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for clarifying. Thanks.
Thank you. Next question, last question. Keep it short. Amrita, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. This is for Akhilesh Prabhu on the Nirguna aspect. So, two things that we learn is Krishna is the source of everything. And whatever is there in the material world is the perverted reflection. So when the acharyas say that he has no material quality, what's the proper understanding? Because even whatever is here has come from him. So how could he not have something which comes from him?
That's a trick question, Prabhuji. So first point, Prabhuji, is that Krishna is actually has no material qualities, and that is what is the meaning of that, is that he is beyond the senses. No, he's beyond the three modes of material nature. Okay. Now these material nature is actually if you see, that's actually one of the Saktis. No, Semeshwar Prabhu in his presentation, I saw that Maya Dakshin Prakriti Suyate Sa Charachara. So It's actually controlled by Krishna, but actually Krishna is not under its control. Okay? So that is the understanding. Now, beyond that, when you're saying that how it is something which is coming from Krishna, but is not in Krishna. So I remember one pastime which somebody asked Srila Prabhupada that can Krishna do anything? Yes. Can he create a very heavy stone which even he cannot lift? And then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, he can do that. But then he can actually lift it too. So similarly, even though Krishna doesn't have material qualities, but he can create under his direction material things can be created. So that's what I think is the explanation or understanding. But there are more learned devotees, panel, Simeshwar Prabhu, Krishna Anand Prabhu, anyone if you want to correct or add.
Yeah, that's a wonderful answer. Krishna, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always gives this wonderful Ajindya Bheda Abheda Tattva, simultaneously one, at the same time different. In this case of material qualities, Krishna is completely spiritual. He's even though it is perverted reflection, it's just a reflection of the actual spiritual. So for him, it is spiritual. So it is a reflection. So like a sun is original, which is the light is come from the sun. So if the sun is not there, light is not there. Similarly, Krishna is a source of everything. So because of Krishna is a source of everything, and he is in original pure state. So we are the material energies inferior, which is called contaminated or is covered by the modes of nature and qualities of like gunas, like Sapta Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna, or dualities, and all is affected by it. So the moment we are also free from all this and we come to the, in contact with the internal potency or the spiritual potency, we also purify. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Chetudarpanamarchanam, that means we purify, means come out from these contaminated states of, or free from the modes of nature. That's a bhakti, goes beyond the modes of material nature. They will be also pure. So Krishna is completely pure. This is a stage. This is like a fire is covered by a smoke. But fire is originally pure, but when it's covered by the smoke or ashes, then it covers it. But it's a byproduct of that one, but that doesn't mean that the ash is the fire. So like that, the perverted reflection, what we see is it's a temporary stages of it. And in any material nature is temporary. It's not permanent. It's just a reflection of light, which is temporary, like that. It's not original. So Krishna is completely pure. He's pavitra. He's pure. So anything that which Krishna or related to Krishna is pure, but it is he's beyond this ashes or material qualities and everything. Yes, you answered it correctly, that everything is possible for Krishna. Whether he wants to, like some example was given, like for Kamsa, for demons, and he became, for the in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, yeah, I'm the gambler, I'm the cheating, I'm the gambler. So Krishna is everything in one sense, but in its original form. But that is when we look at through our eyes, it is a perverted vision for us. Is our when we look at through our eyes or our understanding, so we see that is in this way. But for Krishna, is everything is pure. We are the one who makes it actually temporary and all. Yeah, it's just some adding some thoughts.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll conclude. It's elaborate subject matter. We just have to keep reading and hearing Prabhupada Prabhupada. Then it will clear up all misconceptions. Okay. All glories to Sri Prabhupada, Gandharaj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Parna time 7:12 to 10:16 a.m. tomorrow. So let's continue tomorrow. Please join. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Dear devotees, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripasindhubhyevacha Pranidhana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnava Ki Jai. Bhagavad Gita Nanda Gaudi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.